Hi, I'm Frank. I'm a chef at the Institute of Culinary Education, and today we're going to learn how to cut every fruit.
Wow.
Get out. When you hear the hammer alarm, you know what that means.
Use the hammer. Small fruits. Grapes.
Would I ever slice a grape? You can slice a grape. I have. And if you're a professional chef, your cooks hate you for it. But if you ever want to slice a grape, get a small paring knife. There's two ways you can do it. You can cut along where the stem is. You can also slice it into fine slices. But you want to cut them right before you use them, or else they're just going to get really weird and slimy.
Strawberries.
This is a strawberry, okay? A couple of things you want to do. You want to take off the hull, give it a little twist. If there's still a little hard piece in there, get a really sharp paring knife, and just the tip goes in here, and you can turn the strawberry around and get that little hard piece of stem out if you want. You can cut it in half, in quarters, or if you want to slice it for a nice tart or a salad, but you just don't want to get that little piece of stem in there. It's kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess hard.
Fig.
These are figs. A lot of times you'll see these dry. Fresh figs are a treat. Just take the stem off, cut it in half. But look how beautiful the flesh is. And basically everything on this fig is edible. You just gotta be really careful with them because they tend to break up. So if you're gonna put figs on a salad or in a dish, I would cut them and then place them on later on. If you're gonna roast them, that's great. Just remember, they don't like being beat up too much.
Plum.
This is a plum. Has a little stone in the center, really easy to take out. So all I'm really gonna do is cut it down the center from the stem end, follow it all the way around, give it a twist. The seed comes out. If you want, you can take your knife and pull the seed out like this, but I also like to cut it into quarters, so I'll just cut it one more time. Give it a twist, and the seed just pops right out. From here, you can slice the plum nice and thin. I do recommend leaving the skin on the plum. I think the skin really adds some sort of texture and flavor to it.
Lime.
This is a lime. I'm gonna show you how to cut them for tacos or beer, and this is how I do it. Cut it in half, put it on the flat side, cut it in half again, and then I usually cut it into little smaller pieces because I'm gonna serve it either on a plate or stuff it in a beer. And that's how you cut a lime.
Lemon.
This is a lemon. A lot of different ways you can cut this. I'm gonna cut it into supremes. I cut both ends off, just past where the pith is. And then I'm gonna peel it all the way around. I'm gonna follow the contour of the lemon, trying to get all the pith off. Get rid of our skin. And then we're gonna take this and cut it in between the segments, just to get those supremes. You can go back afterwards and take out the seeds. I'm just trying to cut on the edge of it so that I get nice, even slices of lemon. And that's how I cut a lemon.
Kiwi berry.
These are kiwi berries. They are adorable. What we're gonna do with kiwi berries is just take the little stem off right in your mouth. But we're gonna cut one open, and look how beautiful that is. There's not much you have to do with them. Cut them, serve them. Kiwi berries, delicious and adorable.
Longan.
This is a longan fruit, or a longan. They grow on trees, obviously they got the stems there, and it's a close cousin of lychee fruit. Really all you wanna do is kind of pierce the skin. You can just kind of crack it and then open it up. It kind of just squeezes out into your hand. You can cut it away from the seed, but they tend to cling to the seed a little. And the flesh is kind of this really cool translucent flesh. It's sweet, it's fragrant, it's juicy. Great for cocktails, great for desserts.
Gooseberries.
These are gooseberries. They have this beautiful kind of husk. It actually, when it hangs from the plant, looks kind of like a lantern. You peel the husk away, and you're just basically gonna cut it. They have almost like a citrusy taste to them, and just a little sour. But it'd be a great condiment for things that are fatty, or even maybe something a little salty.
Prickly pear.
This is a prickly pear. A prickly pear is basically the fruit from the top of a cactus. All you really need to do is cut off both ends. It's got a beautiful flesh on the inside. And you make a little incision, and the skin should peel right away, and you get this beautiful, beautiful piece of fruit. Most people just eat this whole like this, but you can slice it, and that is prickly pear.
Star fruit.
This is a star fruit. Not much to do to star fruit. Basically, it comes in its own wrapper. You eat the wrapper. All you really need to do with star fruit is slice it. You take the end and the top off. Everything on the star fruit is edible, and you just cut into slices. You don't even need to worry about the seeds, and you eat it.
Rambutan.
This is a rambutan or a bunch of rambutans. So what I like to do is just to make a little bit of an incision there, and then you can peel the skin away. What this has in the center though is a very hard seed, but if you want to get the flesh off of the seed, what you can do is cut around the seed. It's floral, fragrant. It's also really juicy. Goes really well with gin and vodka. When you get a bite of it, you're not really so sure what it is. It has that kind of like sweet, fragrant candy flavor.
Passion fruit.
This is a passion fruit. Delicious, sour, not hard to process. Chef knife, cut it around the equator, open her up. Oh, looks good. This is basically what you want to see. Nice kind of juicy passion fruit. Super sour, but delicious.
Mandarin orange.
This is a mandarin. Usually what I'll do is I'll just get my thumb in there, right where the stem is, and I'll peel it by hand. And then all you really need to do is pull the sections apart and you eat the sections. Nothing else to be done. Mandarin.
Persimmon.
This is a persimmon. It's delicious, but it can also catch you. If you cut this when it's not ripe and you eat it, it has a very drying effect on your tongue. And all I do is cut it open. When I want to take any stem out, I cut it in half and I make a little bit of a V cut. And then you can just cut this into slices. You can peel it or you can eat the peel. This one looks like it needs to just ripen just a little bit more. It's kind of sweet. It's getting there.
Medium fruits. Pepino melon.
This is pepino melon. When I hear pepino, I think cucumber because pepino is how you say cucumber in Spanish. So we crack it open. Ooh, look at that. I'm gonna give it a whiff. Smells like a cross between a cucumber and a melon. Let me cut this in half. The skin kind of peels away really nice. I'm gonna take some of the seed pod out. It's got a nice soft flesh. And exactly like it advertises. It tastes like a cross between a cucumber and a melon.
Quince.
This is a quince. Kind of looks like a cross between an apple and a pear. Quince needs to be processed before you actually eat it. And the way that I do that is I'm going to cut off both ends and peel. The aroma when you first cut it is just amazing. It's super fragrant, but you can see if you look at the flesh, it's really dry. So quince needs to be cooked for a little while. Take off the peels, cut it in half, and then in quarters. And then we're going to just take out the center just like an apple. Get in there. Angle your knife down to take out the seeds. And you want to make sure that you get all of that kind of center pith out. And then you just dice it. This or the pomegranate was in the Garden of Eden. Oh. It wasn't an apple, it was a quince or a pomegranate. A little trivia.
Cherimoya.
This is a cherimoya. I'm just going to cut this in half. And there's a bunch of black seeds in the center. It has a white kind of creamy flesh. And you kind of got to pull it away from the seeds to eat it. You're basically going to pull this away and eat it, spit the seeds out, and eat the flesh off of the skin. And that's pretty good.
Apple.
This is an apple. 2 pieces of equipment. I have a peeler and a knife. First thing I do is peel the apple. Take the top off with the peeler in one round ring. Take the bottom off in a round ring. And then just take the skin off. Okay? Peeled, cut my apple in quarters, and then I take the core out.
Dragon fruit.
This is a dragon fruit. You'll see these a lot in Chinatowns across the United States, but it's really easy to take care of and cut up open. You just want to cut off both ends. Look at that beautiful inside and the skin. Beautiful colors. You want to cut off both ends, and then all you really need to do is score it, and the skin should peel right off. You just get your finger underneath the skin, and it peels right off. And then it has this beautiful interior. I'm going to cut this in half. But look at that. It looks like sesame seeds. Kind of reminds me of cucumbers a little. That's a dragon fruit.
Avocado.
This is an avocado. This I cut in my hand. I take my chef knife, and I'm going to just cut. And instead of moving the knife, I move the avocado. I just roll my avocado, leave the knife stationary, okay? Twist. Beautiful. That one's perfectly ripe. This is where people get stabbed and cut, and they make specialty knives for this. You don't have to really slam it, just a nice little tap. And you see how far the knife goes in? Twist it. And then to get the seed off, instead of grabbing at it, you just take your pointer finger and your thumb and you pinch it off and it falls off. Give it to your kids, put in a glass of water and some toothpicks and you'll have an avocado tree. When it comes to this, there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can cut this in half. And usually the peel will just come right off. And this is, you can dice that, put it in salad. You can also get a paring knife and do the crosshatch method if you're gonna make guacamole. Put the knife in one way, go the other way. And then usually what I do is I just give it a squeeze and it pops right out. If you squeeze it, you kind of start with a nice dice of avocado, and you don't have to take it out and dice it. It's just pretty much already diced for you when you take it out of the skin.
Peach.
This is a peach, and this is how you cut a peach. Two types of peaches, a freestone and a clingstone. Freestone peach that I have here, the pit will actually come out just by kind of twisting and a little prying. Clingstone you kind of have to cut away, and all I do is this. Cut it in half with a paring knife. Give it a twist. You see the pit comes out, and instead of kind of digging at that and stabbing myself, I'm gonna cut one more time and pull this away, and then the pit just pulls away. Pit goes in the garbage, and then you can slice this however you want. If you're gonna do a tart, you can just slice, or you can just eat it out of hand.
Pomegranate.
This is a pomegranate. There's a lot of different ways to process these. I'm gonna show you two ways. The first way, I have a bowl, I have a spoon, and I have a pomegranate. I'm gonna cut it in half. So some of the seeds might get cut, but it's no big deal. I put the cut side of the pomegranate into my palm, and I get a spoon that's fairly heavy, and I tap. And as I tap, you can see that I'm rotating. Keep tapping until all of them out. See, I got most of them out. And then you can go back, and if there's any little pieces of the inner membrane, you can take it out. And that's it. That's how you cut a pomegranate.
Orange.
This is an orange. Most people just peel this in hand and eat it like that. I'm gonna show you the way the chefs do it. What we're gonna do is take the top and the bottom off first, and then we're gonna peel the orange, trying to hold the shape of it and get all of the pith off. And what we're gonna make today is called SYNO-NYMS. SYNO-NYMS just basically means the best part of the orange. And then we get our small paring knife, and we're gonna cut sections, just on the inside of each of the segments. SYNO-NYMS of orange.
Yellow plantain.
This is a yellow plantain. Same as the green plantain, except it's just a little riper, a little softer. It's had a little time to mature and get a little sweeter. We're gonna process this and take out the flesh. What I usually do with this, I cut off both ends. I do a little score just with the tip of the knife, once, twice, and I get my finger under the skin, and the peel just comes off like, almost like a regular banana. It's super starchy. It's actually a little sticky right now. You want to cook this before you eat it. And before you cook it, usually I'll slice it into nice thick slices. I'll take this, deep fry it, give it a little bit of a smash, and then fry it again. That's a Maduro. Maduros are usually something from a sweet plantain.
Green plantain.
Similar to any other plantain, this one just happens to be on the unripe side. It hasn't turned yellow yet, hasn't gotten dark, and it's not really super sweet. It's really starchy. Gonna cut this the same way we would cut any other plantain. I take the ends off. The flesh is a little different color. It's usually a little pinker. Just the tip of the knife to score the skin. It's a little harder to get off than the yellow plantain, but if you get your hand under it, your finger under it, you peel it away. The difference between this and a yellow plantain is sometimes the green plantain tends to oxidize. The flesh is a lot firmer. You're not going to eat this like this. It's probably not going to be all that delicious. This is where they'll make plantain chips out of, or you make tostones. You take these, you'll cut them in slices, fry them until they're soft, and then you smash them and fry them again. It makes a tostone.
Mango.
This is a mango. The way I cut a mango is I need a paper towel, a chef knife, and a peeler. And I'll just peel it in my hand. Once I get about to here, I'm gonna take my paper towel and put the mango in the paper towel so it doesn't slip and I don't cut myself with the peeler. Get all the peel off, and you'll see that if I lay it flat, it's kind of fat. I want to do it on the skinny side. So you'll see it's skinny. The seed runs this way with the mango. So I'll take the mango, stand it up, go about a third of the way in, and slice. One lobe falls off. The other lobe falls off. The seed, like I said, is going to be right around there. So I'm going to cut the edges off. Now with this piece, that's the treat for the chef. You eat it. With this, you cut it however you want it, in slices or in dices. Same thing goes for the flesh over here. You can just dice it up or cut it in thin slices. And that's how you cut a mango. Here's another way to cut a mango. Don't need to peel it. Again, you want to stand the mango up, not lay it flat. You cut close to the seed on either side. You cut the flesh off on this side. Get a paring knife. I'm just gonna make some crosshatch marks. I go one way, I turn it, and I go the other way. And then you can turn it out and pop the mango out and eat it like that. That's delicious.
Grapefruit.
This is a grapefruit. This is a pink grapefruit. I'm pretty sure it's a pink grapefruit. I don't have x-ray vision, but usually you can see from the skin. Similar to most citrus fruits, this is what I would do. Take off the ends, and then I basically peel off the skin. And then you just find the center, and you take out the segments.
Use the hammer. Use the hammer.
And what are we gonna do now? We're gonna smash this grapefruit. You ready? It's gonna get messy. Oh boy, that's visual.
Large fruits. Durian.
Okay, you gotta watch yourself. It's a little dangerous. It's a durian or a durian fruit. Notorious for being stinky. Not allowed in bus stations, not allowed on trains or airplanes. They're basically sequestered. They are the scourge of Southeast Asia, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a towel and hold it, and I'm just gonna score it, right? The skin isn't, it looks a lot tougher than it is. I'm gonna score it all the way around. And it doesn't smell that bad. Usually it's a little stinkier, right? And then I'm gonna get my towels, and I'm gonna lean on it, and I'm gonna pry it apart, okay? You pry it apart, and this is what you eat inside. And this is how you would eat it. There's a little seed inside. You want to take the seed out. And it kind of smells like onions and feet. And that is a durian.
Papaya.
This is a papaya, okay? I like to use my knife. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to cut off both ends. And that's a really nice looking papaya inside. It should have that nice kind of pink blush on the inside. So I'm gonna cut this in half just to make it a little more manageable. And I'm gonna lay it on its flat side and I'm gonna peel it. I'm not too worried about the seeds getting on my board. The seeds are actually edible. I wouldn't say they're delicious, but they kind of like remind me a little bit of a bland caviar. I'm gonna get rid of all the skin. I'm gonna put this one aside for now. The seeds I'm gonna put into a bowl. I'm gonna pull this over to the edge, cut this in half. Open her up, and then you just get your bowl, scrape your seeds and pulp out, and you can do this pretty much however you want it. You can slice it, cut it into large dice, and that's how you cut a papaya.
Pineapple.
This is a pineapple, and this is how you cut a pineapple. We have a couple different ways of doing this, but this is the way that I would do it. Take my pineapple, take the top and the bottom off. I lay it on the flat side, and I'm just gonna peel away the skin. I make sure that I go deep enough to get all these little eyes out. So get most of the eyes off. I take the pineapple and I split it right down the middle. Split it right down the middle again, and I get it into quarters. And right down here in the middle of the pineapple is really fibrous and kind of woody. What I'll do is I'll lay it on its side and take out that center core. So once you get that core out, you can make it into some nice slices. I have it nice and flat here. Really nice. Beautiful sliced pineapple. Here's another way to cut a pineapple. And if you're going to serve the pineapple on maybe a buffet or something that you want a little more visual, this is the other way you can do it. You take the pineapple, and you're going to cut it directly in half with the skin on, and you're going to go all the way through the top of the pineapple as well. Okay? It looks really pretty like that. And then you're going to quarter it all the way through. Try not to stab yourself. I'm going to lay it on its side and take out most of the core. I'm going to take off the end. And then we're going to cut it not all the way through. You can do it with a paring knife or a chef knife. We're going to cut it almost all the way through. And then we're going to cut it down this side and then down this side so that they pop out. And that's the way you can cut a pineapple for like a buffet or something that you're going to serve and make it look pretty.
Cantaloupe.
This is a cantaloupe. And this is how you cut a cantaloupe. In a professional kitchen, you always want to get things flat. This is round. It rolls around our board. So what I'm going to first do is cut our ends off. And then I'm going to peel it with my knife. Follow the contour of the cantaloupe. Get all the skin off. You don't want any of that green pith. It's not bad for you. You're not going to get sick from it, but it just doesn't taste really good. It's just kind of bland and plain. Follow the contour so you got that nice cantaloupe shape. We're going to cut it in half. And then we're going to remove all the seeds. And we're just going to scrape the seeds out. Put it on its flat side. You can cut these little ends off. Those are snacks for you as the chef. And you could slice it if you're going to do a fruit plate. Or you can just cut it into slices, eat it like that, or dice it. That's how I cut a cantaloupe.
Pomelo.
This is a pomelo. It's a close cousin to the grapefruit, to oranges. It's a citrus fruit. I take the top and the bottom off, make a little bit of a score, not all the way through, but just to break the skin. Skin can be used for candying, but the skin and the pith tend to be used in the pomelo as well as the fruit. Crack it open. You get this really kind of cool sarlacc pit alien look to it. And then you're just gonna peel off these little nodes. I've seen different vodkas flavored with pomelo. It almost has kind of a savory flavor, but it does smell a little more like air freshener than, than something you really want to eat.
Pumpkin.
So this is a pumpkin. This is classically what people use for jack-o'-lanterns. I'm just gonna whack this sucker in half, okay? I'm just gonna cut the stem right off, and then I'm just gonna cut it directly in half. And I'm gonna kind of do what I call the axe murderer on it. I'm gonna stab right through, push my knife all the way down, and kind of just pull my knife down, right? If I just plunge the knife through and kind of make a guillotine motion a little, it cuts in half really easy. Okay? You scoop the seeds out, and when you have the oven on, you can toast the seeds. I usually just wash these with a little water to get all this stuff off. Toast the seeds right next to it.
Honeydew.
This is a honeydew, and I'm gonna show you how to cut it. What I like to do with honeydews is square off the ends. Round things on cutting boards are dangerous, and you cut your fingers a lot. And then I use a small chef knife, and I use that with a little slight sawing motion, and then we cut it in half. Okay, then we would get a bowl. I'm gonna scrape out all the seeds and all the seed pods, what holds the seeds in there. And then what I do is I'll turn this on the flat side, cut it one more time, cut it again. With this, we could cut it just like this, or we can dice. And then you can just slice it. I think it makes some nice slices for a fruit platter. Oh, great.
Watermelon.
This is a watermelon. And this is how you cut a watermelon. Watermelons can be a little unruly. They're really big, they roll around a lot. So what I normally do is I'll cut the ends off. Give myself a flat side, and if you want to eat that, you can. And then I lay it on its flat side, so it's easy to cut. And then I'm gonna just cut it right down the center. Try and get it as even as possible just so it looks good. Okay, open her up, put this on the side, cut it down the center again, and then we're gonna cut it like we're at a barbecue. You can cut it one more time if the little watermelon is really big, but then you just cut it into slices. So what you can also do, if you want, is after you have your slices, you can do a little cross cut here and take these little edges off, so that when you eat it, you don't get that watermelon in your face. It'll give you a cleaner bite, and it looks like a little house. Oh boy. You guys ready for this?
Use the hammer. Use the hammer.
Okay, you guys ready? Again, we're going for maximum destruction here. Okay, you ready? I should have brought a second chef jacket, guys. Might not have cut every type of fruit today, but if you kind of just look at it and see how it's shaped, you can pretty much figure out how you want to cut it every single time. There were some easy ones today, there were some harder ones, but don't be afraid. What's the worst that can happen?